Mr. Ed appeared on American TV from 1961 to 1966. All 143 episodes were filmed in black and white. Producer Arthur Lubin had wanted to do a TV series about Francis the Talking Mule, a popular film series in the 1950s, but was unable to secure the rights. The Mr. Ed concept came from a series of short stories by children's author Walter R. Brooks, which began with one called The Talking Horse in 1937. Mr. Ed was a normal Palomino in most respects, other than the fact that he could talk, read, and was quite intelligent. But he only ever spoke to his owner, Wilbur Post. This led to many awkward situations when the mischievous horse would get Wilbur caught up in many zany schemes. Wilbur was a good-hearted and klutzy architect who worked out of his office in Ed's stable. A running gag is other characters hearing him talking back to Ed and asking who he's talking to. According to producer Lubin, Alan Young was chosen for the part of Wilbur because he just seemed like the sort of guy a horse would talk to. Alan Young had been a well-known actor in the 1940s and 50s. He starred in the Alan Young Show on radio and television and won 2 Emmy Awards. Another notable role for him was voicing Disney's Scrooge McDuck for over 40 years. Young died in 2016 at the age of 96. Mr. Ed was born in California in 1949. He was a saddlebred, half Arabian cross, and his real name was Bamboo Harvester. Before his starring role, he was a parade and show horse. He would eventually win 4 Patsy Awards, that is, the Performing Animal Top Star of the Year, for his role as Mr. Ed. Bamboo Harvester had a double named Pumpkin, who was a Palomino quarter horse. He worked as Mr. Ed's stunt double, posed for photos, and made personal appearances. The actor who gave voice to Mr. Ed was Alan Rocky Lane. Lane was a well-known actor in Western films, appearing in 125 films and on TV. Besides Mr. Ed, his best-known role was Red Ryder. Wilbur's wife, Carol, was played by Connie Hines. Connie had been born into an acting family in 1931 and was voted the most popular girl in her high school class. During the 1960s, she would appear as a guest on other shows, but Connie is best known for the role of Carol Post. The storylines focused more on the interactions between Wilbur and Ed, so Carol was not really a main character. Though she was often the one who saw Wilbur acting oddly around Ed, she remained supportive and sweet, and defended his eccentric behavior to the various guest stars. There was a secret about how they made Mr. Ed appear to talk. When Alan Young was asked, he said they used peanut butter, but he only said that to not disappoint the children. At first, they attached a string to his lips and pulled on it, but later Mr. Ed was trained to move his lips whenever his hoof was touched. Mr. Ed was trained by professional horse trainer Les Hilton. Hilton got his start in the industry as apprentice for Will Rogers. He trained mules for the Francis the Talking Mule series. He also trained Flicka and her stunt double for the movie My Friend Flicka. Besides training Mr. Ed how to talk, Hilton taught him to answer the phone, open doors, and how to untie knots. Hilton had to be on the set at all times, as Mr. Ed would not respond to anyone else, but he would often get scenes done in the first shot. After the show ended, Mr. Ed went to live with Hilton in Burbank, California. Alan Young regularly visited him and sometimes take rides on his friend. There is some mystery around the death of Bamboo Harvester. Alan Young said that he died by accident after a tranquilizer injection. Another account is that he was euthanized after his health began to degrade. The year was 1970. Bamboo Harvester would have been 20 to 21 years old. A marker was placed at Snodgrass Farm in Oklahoma, but it was not above the remains. It was said that Pumpkin died in 1979 and buried at the headstone. Fans of Mr. Ed still visit the farm to pay their respects.